Today on Coding 101, we are getting classy with practical classes. Are you ready? I know I am.
Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for Coding 101 is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of Coding 101 is brought to you by Lynda.com. Lynda.com is an easy and affordable way to help you learn. Instantly stream thousands of courses created by experts on business, software, web development, graphic design, and more. For a free trial, visit lynda.com/C101. That's lynda.com/C101. And by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform that makes it fast and easy to create your own professional website or online portfolio. For a free 2-week trial and 10% off, go to squarespace.com and use the offer code CODING.
Welcome to Coding 101. It's the place where we let you in on the secrets of the coding masters. I'm Father Robert Ballecer.
And I am Shannon Morse, and for the next 30 minutes, we're going to get you all learned it up on everything you need to know to be a code warrior.
Absolutely. Now, Shannon, we've been kind of stalled on classes because it's a very...
they're weird?
Because they're weird. And, you know, we've had a lot of people who have said, rightfully so, I still don't get how this is useful. They understand how classes work, they understand how abstract classes work, they understand how interfaces work, but it's kind of tricky to write something where you're thinking, this is just extra work.
Yes. You know, my biggest problem with classes so far, I understand how to make them, I understand how to build them and how to make it implemented, but my problem is, okay, well, when am I going to use a class as opposed to just putting it all on one program style sheet?
Right, which is why today what we're going to do is we're going to give you some practical examples, and all the examples we give you today will be available on the show notes page. Now, we haven't been putting it into the GitHub because we're actually building packages. It's because it's not just one file anymore. And what we found was if we made multiple files, people were complaining that it's too difficult for them to put it in the proper place. So I'm actually zipping up all the program examples. There's a link in the show notes page that you can download them from, and then when you open up the project file, it will open up exactly as it is on our computers.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I didn't know you could do that with GitHub. Yay! Well, I'm ready. Are you ready to do a little bit of Snubs Compiled?
I'd like some compiling, please.
All right, I'll make it short today. I'll make it very, very short. So let's go ahead and jump over to my computer where I have Visual Studio Express 2013 opened. Now, my example is not super practical, but hey, it works for me, and that's what matters. So first off, I have just program.cs, which is what you normally open up with. I have named it episode 34 Snubs example, and the class is just called program. So I left that as the default. The first line is a default, and then down here you see a whole bunch of different commands. So what are all of these? Well, I have a whole bunch of different new names for my class called anime. So you'll see the same thing over and over, and I've done it a couple of different times. First off, I made this first anime class and I named it Anime 1, and then it's gonna write Anime 1, which is name of anime. Now down here, I have Anime 1, and I set anime as Sailor Moon. So when it types out, it should type out as Sailor Moon. Same thing with this one, it should type out as DBZ. But what do these do? Weird, huh? And then down here, we just have press enter to exit. Now, if you go up to my class, and I named this one class1.cs, this one is called public class anime. So that's where we see that name again. Down here, I'm going to have, oh, let me erase that because that's not correct anymore because I messed with it a little bit. So down here, I have the name of anime, which is where you're going to put in whatever the name of the anime is that you decide to call it. If you do not have a name, it just comes up as nani, which means what in Japanese.
Hey, nani, nani.
And then here I have a conjugation, I think it's called. And under that, I have set anime, where you can actually add a name of the anime. So this is where this comes into play. Now, if I go ahead and build this file, so I'll build a solution and hit start, you'll see that it says Nani for the first one, Sailor Moon, DBZ, and Nani, Nani, Nani. Press enter to exit. So hit enter to exit. Interesting, isn't it?
Nice. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not very practical, but you could use this to, like, say you work at, I don't know, Funimation or something. You could end up listing out all the different animes for your website into this C# code to put on your site or something like that.
Yeah, one of the ways that I see you using this, and we've been trying to stress this, in fact, we've been hitting you over the head with this, I know this, is to enforce a hierarchy.
Yes.
Once you have a set number of methods and variables and procedures that you want attached to any anime series, you would build that anime class.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So that's what I was doing in this one. Of course, if I wanted to take the time to do it, I could also add new classes to this, such as an episode listing for a specific anime. And then if I wanted it to not coincide with all animes for all classes, I could always override that. So it's just coincides with a certain anime that I've figured out.
Nice.
Same with like a list of characters or a list of the voice actors or something like that. So many ways that you can use it, and you can also use it with after users have put in information themselves.
Right, right. And this is, again, this is something that we're going to make available to all of our listeners, all of our viewers. You'll be able to download this code so you can play with it. And yes, I know that on the surface it looks like this is a waste of time. You should just all include it in one big program. And I know that I've told you this.
It's so much more organized.
It really is so much more organized. And this is the way you should program.
Yes.
This is the way that you should organize your code. And that's what we're trying to really push on you. And I'm sorry if it feels as if we're covering the same thing over and over again, but this is really important.
I'm going to ingrain it into your head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I also have a viewer example, well, not really a normal viewer example that we share where I show you the example code and everything, but you might remember that Nathan Fulmer over in our Google Plus community had recently asked us, hey, I want you to mess with this Fibonacci sequence and answer this question that I ask of you. I don't think anybody actually did in our Google Plus community. I tried it myself. I kept on getting errors, but he did put the answer in here. So if you want to try his code and see if you can get it yourself, go over to our Google Plus community, which is bit.ly/twitcoding101, and you can check out his answer. So try out that code and see if you can figure out his problem solving.
Right. And remember, we're just trying to give you ways to get into it. And one of the best ways to get into it is to try to solve a problem. Because if you're solving a problem rather than coming up with code, it's a much better way to think about programming. We've stressed this again since the first module, which is the code is inconsequential. The thought processes that go into breaking down a problem into solvable chunks is really what we're after.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm ready.
Okay, well, I think this is a good time for us to take a pause and maybe fill the knowledge hole. I talk about the knowledge hole in my other program. Are you okay?
Nom 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 knowledge hole?
I'm hungry now. Right. Yeah, well, you know, it's this part of our minds that once we start into a topic, we want more. You've done this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All the time.
Those late nights where you just start click, 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 click. And that's because we're naturally curious. So a program like this, like Coding 101, even though we'll give you the basics, even though we'll give you the introduction, sometimes you need to go someplace else to get something more in depth, which is why I'm happy that lynda.com is a supporter of Coding 101. Now, what is lynda.com? Lynda.com is the true source of knowledge online. If you want to learn about business, if you want to learn about programming, if you want to learn about video editing, you can find it on lynda.com. Lynda.com is an easy and affordable way to help you learn the way that you want to learn. You can stream thousands of courses created by experts on software, web development, graphic design, and more. In other words, it's your life taught to you the way you want it to be taught to you online. How can you get better than that? Lynda.com works directly with industry experts and software companies to provide timely training, often the same day that new versions are released. So you're always up to date. Your skills will always be ready to go. All courses are produced at the highest quality, which means that they're not going to be like those low-quality YouTube videos. I'm not saying all YouTube videos are low quality. I came from YouTube. You came from YouTube, Snubs. But sometimes you want to concentrate more on the material than on the fact that so-and-so is using a bad mic or so-and-so has really bad lighting. That's what Lynda does. They give you the way to learn that has the fewest distractions. Lynda also includes tools like searchable transcripts or playlists and certificates of course completion so you can look for and find exactly what you need at that time, and so that you can tell the world by publishing your certificates on LinkedIn what you've trained in. It's a great way to show potential employers what you're ready to tackle. Now, whether you're a beginner or advanced, lynda.com has courses for your experience level. You can learn while you're on the go with lynda.com apps for the iPhone, the iPad, and the Android, or you could watch on your Mac, your PC, your desktop, or your laptop. They have one low monthly price of $25, which will give you unlimited access to over 100,000 video tutorials. Just think about that, 100,000. What could you do with 100,000 instructional video tutorials? Well, you could pretty much learn anything you want to learn. Now, premium members with an annual plan can download courses to their iPhone, their iPads, or Androids and watch them offline, which is great if you want a repository that goes with you. Anytime you need reference, lynda.com will be there for you. Now, I have been using lynda.com for programming, and of course, with Coding 101, it's always good to get a refresher on the things that we're going to be talking about. So, for example, if I want to start developing for Android, I could jump into this SDK tutorial that will show me step by step what I need to do in order to create an Android app. It's that simple, folks. You want to learn, Lynda wants to help you learn. Now, for any software you rely on, lynda.com can help you stay current with all software updates and learn the ins and outs of being more efficient and productive. I love Lynda, and I know you will too. And we've got a special offer for you to access all of their courses free for 7 days. Visit lynda.com/C101 to try lynda.com free for 7 days. That's lynda.com/C101. And we thank Lynda for their support of Coding 101. How about a little bit of Ivory Tower?
I'm ready.
All right. Now, I wanted to start this off a little bit different because we're going to be doing a classic classes smackdown. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With something that really is very Ivory Tower. This is sort of, you know, pie in the sky. This is something that's not all that practical at the moment, but is very cool and is something that maybe a prospective programmer might be wanting to get into. And that is...
Intrigued.
Bitcoin might save the world.
What?
No, okay, not save the world, but it could change the face of programming. What we have is a young man, a college dropout. How many stories start with that, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the college dropout who made good. In fact, if you go to my computer, Josh, what you see is, you see that this young man, Vitaly Buterin, I'm totally butchering his name, he started up a new project that he's calling Project Ethereus. And what it is it's an effort to use the technology behind Bitcoin to change the way that we program and publish programs to the internet. Go ahead and come back to us, Josh. Now, you may be asking, but Bitcoin is not that. How do I use Bitcoin to change the world? Quite simply, it's based on the BitChain. The blockchain.
What?
The blockchain. You know how...
The BitChain.
No, not the BitChain, the blockchain. You understand how like cryptocurrencies work, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Kind of.
Kind of. So the blockchain was absolutely essential to any cryptocurrency. So Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, any of the other coins. The idea is you decentralize the control of the currency.
Right.
And the way that you decentralize it is you put it into a blockchain, which means that the control over the tracking of finances and the ledgers and who's done what and who's transferred money to whom is controlled by all computers rather than a central computer, which makes it impossible to shut down, or at least very, very difficult. It also makes it very, very difficult to cheat. And how do you mess with the ledger when the ledger is stored over thousands or millions of computers? Right? Yeah. It helps to think of it as a massively parallel, massively redundant, ridiculously backed up cloud server.
Oh, that's awesome.
Okay, except there's no one single entity that's controlling it. So what he wants to do with Project Ethereus is they want to be able to take that power and apply it not just to a ledger, but any program that you might write for use in the internet.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, different. Imagine this. So if there's no central authority for Bitcoin, Litecoin, or Dogecoin, and if you take that same blockchain and you use it for, say, hosting the next email service or whatever that you want to do, it means that you don't have to worry about someone taking down your email server. You don't have to worry about it not being available. As long as there are participating nodes that are working on that blockchain, your service will always remain up.
Oh, wow. That's actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Now here's the cool part. So Vitalik had a campaign, a crowdfunding campaign, and he raised about 30,000 Bitcoins. Whoa. Which in today's market, I think that's a lot of money. It's about $15 million USD. But he's using that to seed it's a cryptocurrency that he's calling, what is it, ethereals? Ethers. He's calling them ethers, right? He's going to call them ethers. And the idea is that it's like a Bitcoin and it's like a Litecoin or Dogecoin, but here's the main difference. And this is something that we've lamented. When you talk about a Bitcoin, you're talking about mining, usually mining unless you're buying it, going through an algorithmic hash until you find a proof, and then you present that proof to the blockchain, and the blockchain will reward you with a certain number of Bitcoins, right?
Right, yeah.
But all those calculations are wasted. You got computers priming all the time making these calculations, and then if you get or if you don't get rewarded, that's worthless calculations. You just wasted all that processing power.
Oh yeah, of course.
He wants to create a blockchain where all the participating nodes are helping to host the software that's in the blockchain. Now, you get money as long as you're hosting, participating in that blockchain.
Right.
And the people who host their software in the blockchain pay ethers in order to host their software. Oh. So it's like mining, but now there's actually some sort of service being provided.
Right.
Right. You're not just wasting the processing power. Oh. Yeah. We talked about this a bit in the past on Know How, my other show here on Thursdays, and you know, it's just, I think we've come to a time where we don't like the idea of just wasting electricity and processing power for nothing. And if I could get rewarded by donating some of my computing time to, say, someone who wants to host, I don't know, some supercomputing math, blah, 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 then I'm willing to do that if I get a little bit of...
I'd be okay with that.
A little bit of something, something.
A little something, something.
Something, something.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, so it's not mining, it's hosting. You're now hosting, but it still uses a blockchain.
That's really interesting. It's very intriguing.
It's intriguing, and I honestly think this is where we're heading.
This is the time. Yeah, it's 2014.
It's 2014, and this idea of having monolithic servers in a back room somewhere that control everything, that could be hacked, it could be lulled. It's kind of old school.
It's kind of old school, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like 1990s now.
We like distributed out into the cloud. Okay.
I can see this happening.
Let's get away from that and let's talk a little something about classes. Now, we promised you some solid, practical examples of how we use classes, and we're going to deliver. Josh, if you could go ahead and go back over to my computer. This right here is an example, a piece of code that Lou helped put together over the weekend. I was playing with the ability of C# to download things off the internet using get. You know, so basically it's a web call, right?
Right.
There's a file on the internet that I want to get, which you're going to want. This is how you do. And how do I use C# to get it, to bring it in? Now, check this out. If you take away the comments, this is what my program actually looks like. That entire thing is my program.
It's not that long at all.
And half of it are comments.
Yeah.
Which is what we want, right? Because we want people to comment the code so we can understand what it's doing. All this is doing, if you look at this, in the use statements, it has something that we haven't seen before. Using twit.tv coding 101.data.asynchronous downloads.
What?
Okay, this was a set of classes that Lou created for me that allows me, let's see if you go over here, Josh, if you could zoom in on this. These are the individual classes that he has created. When I put that in my using statement section, it means, okay, make these available for the program. Now, go ahead and back out. I want to show what one of these looks like. So let me go to the resumable downloads. This is a class. This defines a public class called resumable downloads. And then these are all the methods that go into that class. Essentially, this is the back-end code that allows the program to access the network part of the computer.
And I'm noticing this is not abstract, so you have to have all the complete code in there.
Right, so all the complete code, this is a complete code.
Yeah.
Right, but you know, unlike, say, putting this into my main program, there's a lot of members in here that I'm probably not going to use. If I'm only using the download method, then, you know, I don't have to use the upload method. Or maybe it means I don't have to use the you know, checksum method. But that could all be in the class. I just pick and choose what I'm going to use.
You don't have to use every single one.
I don't have to use every single one, but it's nice to know that it's there. It means that in future programs, if I use this class, I can, right?
Oh, cool.
And then I'm also including something here like the download state. So this is another public class called download state. And as you can see, there are no abstracts in here. So this is a real class. This is ready to be instantiated. And this allows me to check what the download state is so that I can be ready to download. Now let's go back to my program. And Josh, I'm gonna zoom in really quickly here. As you can see, the first thing that this is gonna do, and we've seen this before, it's going to instantiate a new object. And this object is going to be based off resume downloads, which we took a look at over here. So this is a class that was included with my using statements, right? Yeah. It's not in this program. I have it nowhere in this program, but this allows me to make a new object based on the class called resumable downloads, which I included in this synchronous downloads package. Okay. Now with that, yeah, look how neat this becomes. Now it becomes, I create the object, I create this string, which allows me to input, okay, where's the file located and what is it called, and then I also tell it where's it gonna go. I want it to go my computer, and I want to go into a specific directory, and then the rest of this is just using the download state class to download the file according to the variables that I've set.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And now when I run this, what it will do is it will automatically go to podtrack.com, which is one of our what do you call that, content distributors, and it will start a console that will start downloading the file to my computer. Now I can specify as many files here as I want. So this, folks, this is the start of creating your own podcast catcher.
That is so cool.
Right? So if you're tired of really bad RSS feeds or really bad podcast catchers, what Lou has just done for you is he's giving you the basis, the class that you need to create your own. You don't have to code it. All you got to do is look at the comments in this class to figure out what does what, and then you're good to go.
That's brilliant.
And folks,
I love it.
So we're going to make this available. This will be as a zip file, all in one. So if you download this project and you run it, it will automatically start downloading one of our episodes. And then you can go through there and say, well, you know what? I want to download something from Hack 5. I want to download something from Revision 3,
You
Tekzilla.
can just change the link.
You could change the link. You could create a menu system because we already know how to do that. And you can play with the other methods that are included in the class that we didn't use in this particular program.
That's amazing. I love it.
Right? And see, I think when you start seeing stuff like this is when classes, you go, oh,
it makes sense.
That's why you do that.
That's why you would plug it in.
Yeah. So
cool.
what we'd like you to do is go ahead and download this, try it, make sure it works, because it will work the very first time, and then play around. And I promise you, once you realize how easy it is to use classes like this to interface with the interwebs, you'll be hooked.
Ooh, so fun.
Yeah. Now we're going to be getting over to our code warrior Lou, who did assemble this for me. But I was messing around with it for the longest time, and I just couldn't make the asynchronous downloads work.
Oh.
And Lou's like, oh yeah, hold on, I got a class here for you. Boom.
Oh, let me just fix that for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hold on, let me just take care of that.
Just give me like 2 minutes.
That's why he's the code warrior. But before we get there, you know what I'd like? I'd like a place where, like, if I have projects like this, I could make them available for people. I'm tired of dealing with domains. I'm tired of registering the proper blah, blah, blah.
I want my own .com. I want to be able to upload as many photos as I want. I want to be able to embed a map. I want it to look clean and crisp and very easy to understand, and Squarespace did that for me. And it was so easy, and it was inexpensive too. So Squarespace.com, they're the all-in-one platform that makes it super, super easy to create your own professional website or your online portfolio or your wedding website. They are so great. Some of the reasons why, of course, you're going to love Squarespace just as much as I do. They're constantly improving their platform with new features. They have new designs that you can just use for your own, and they have even better support. For example, you can get support from them 24/7, every single week, even on holidays. If you want help, they have a live chat, they have email support, plus they have a completely redesigned customer help site as well. And they have beautiful designs. There are plenty to choose from on there. They have over 25 beautiful templates for you to quickly build your own personal or business site. And they have a great mobile experience. Squarespace has developed templates with responsive designs, which means that your site is automatically restructured to look great on any device, no matter whether you're using a smartphone, the new iPhone, what is it, the 6 Plus?
6 some mega phone.
Or just, you know, your computer or your desktop at home. It's going to look great on any of those. And hosting is included, y'all. You don't have to go anywhere else to get hosting. They have it. They take care of the hosting with a distributed network that does not go down, even if like their server room is flooding. Seriously, it did happen and my website stayed up. It's inexpensive. It starts at $8 a month and they include a free domain name if you sign up for a year. So it was perfect for my wedding website. I had my own .com, I had my own domain name. It was only $8 a month and their code is gorgeous. Squarespace takes just as much pride in their back end as they do with their front end design. So not only do you have these gorgeous designs, but you also have really, really easy to code. Squarespace even has a developer platform. So if you're a coder, for example, you can get all up under there and be able to fix anything that you want just to your liking. So if you really want to dig into site customization and developer accounts, they never expire while in development. So you can take as much time as you need before launching your site, and you don't pay anything until you actually go live on your site, on the internets. Now they have complete control on their developer platform, so you can edit all the code that affects the display of your website, every single line of HTML, all little bits of CSS, and the JavaScript all under your control. And they have Git and SFTP support. There's a Git repository. They have version control that comes standard, and you can connect to template files via Git or SFTP as well. And a little bit more in developer tools. There's less pre-processing, JSON templating, script comboing, Retina-ready responsive image handling, haha, and even more. So start a free 2-week trial with no credit card required and start building a website. See if you guys like it, because it's gorgeous. When you design, when you actually decide to sign up for Squarespace, make sure to use the offer code CODING, that's C-O-D-I-N-G, and get 10% off and show your support of Coding 101. And of course, we thank Squarespace for their support of Coding 101 because a better web awaits, and it starts with your new Squarespace website.
Woot.
It's gorgeous.
Yes, absolutely gorgeous. And speaking of gorgeous, I think that definitely qualifies for the coding warrior who we're bringing in now.
I am ready.
Are you ready? Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lou Maresca from Microsoft. He's our code warrior. He is the man of the hour. He's the man who gave me this awesome, awesome software that I can now customize to my
I was pretty excited about that.
Yeah, hopefully people can get use out of it.
It's one of the, it's this sort of stuff, this sort of program that we're going to be giving to the audience that really gets them to finally, I think, make that transition to this is a better way to program. Because I understand what they've been, we've had a lot of mail-ins and a lot of comments from people saying, I don't understand why we're learning this. This doesn't make any sense. When they see this and when they see, oh, you mean I can use code that someone else wrote and I don't have to figure out how it works and I just do this, I think then, yeah, it'll work. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you have no problem at all.
Now, this was how we access the get features on your computer. So if I want to pull stuff off of the internet, which is very useful, crazy useful. In fact, as I mentioned, this could be the start of your own podcast catcher. Yep. But you've decided you want to give us some little something else that maybe might be
That's right.
More popular. So what are we doing today?
So what I decided to do is make it something more useful for people who like to use social network. I built a Twitter app.
Ooh.
And it's probably one of the simplest apps. You'll be really surprised in how easy it is to use. And I'm going to actually show you a library that I'm using to kind of get it to work. But it's so simple, and hopefully everyone will be able to play with it and try it out for themselves. So the app itself, you do have to go register an app. So you would go like to dev.twitter.com and then sign in and create an app for yourself. But we can put instructions on how to do that in the notes, and then they can basically go and do it themselves. So they can add, because they have to have some secret codes in your app for it to work.
Yeah, you have to have a key, correct?
That's right. Yeah. So, but other than that, the code itself is really simple.
Right. So, but now let's be clear here. You didn't have to write this from scratch. You needed to apply for a dev account. You needed to get your super secret number so that your program knew how to access the Twitter API.
Right.
But the bulk of the programming was just a class available online that you were able to use in your code.
That's right. And so I think a couple episodes ago, we did like a social networks abstracted class. And so I just basically used that so that I could show, okay, well, we already did that code, so I'm going to use that against this other library that I found online, a really cool library called Link to Twitter. And you can go to its GitHub or to its Codeplex online and find it, and I can actually show where that's at in the show notes too. But yeah, I basically use that, and then I just use the class that I already wrote to kind of interact with it, and it makes it really easy.
Nice. Okay, show us, bring us in there and show us how this works.
So if you show my screen real quick, this is the social network class that we wrote a while ago. Let me zoom in real quick here. And you remember it's just an abstract class. So sometimes it has properties in here, and which is things, you know, that describe the class. But sometimes it had methods that don't really do anything. It doesn't have any code in here at all. And then I built a Twitter version of that where I basically inherited it. And now I actually had to create a function for it. And you'll notice in here, this is the code that actually works with this library, this link to Twitter library that I found. And again, it's only 3 lines, allows me to tweet a message. Very, very simple. And then this is inside my social network class. So anytime I want to post a message, the message is a string, and then I just go ahead and send it off there after I've already authenticated myself.
Oh, that's
very,
cool.
very simple. And then if I show the actual window here, this is a very simple window. All I did was go to the toolbox, general tools here, and I drag and dropped a couple controls, which was a button and a text box on here. And then I double-clicked on the button, and it took me in here to the code and said, okay, when you click the button, what do? I want to create a Twitter object, and I want to log in, and then I want to post a tweet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Really, really simple code, yeah.
Wait, that's the program?
That's program, that's it.
How does that work, Lou? I don't understand. That doesn't have any code in it.
So honestly, it's real simple. So if we actually run this real quick, it's going to first ask me, hey, you know, log in, because you got to log into Twitter. So I'll put LouMM and then master pass.
Josh,
right?
if you go ahead and zoom in on that, make sure that people can see.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm not going to show my password. And then this is the simplest way that you can. It's called PIN authentication on Twitter. It's just a way to authenticate the user, and then you just click authorize PIN. And that, again, that all comes for free. And then the simple app is this little text box, and I can say on coding 101 and hit tweet, and that's it. It's already out there. And if I pop out here to my Twitter feed, and
so now if you go to the website,
yeah,
you should see it.
There it is. Oh, it's
nice.
Asking me to sign in again, but
wow,
right there.
That's cool.
That's crazy easy.
Yeah. So if we go real quick back through the code, I wanted to show you what we did here is. So I basically just created a really simple WPF app. Boom. Once I created that,
sorry, Lou. By the way, if you don't understand what we're doing with the WPF app, look at episode 7 and 8 of the first module from C#, and you'll see the step-by-steps.
Yep. And really all it does is add a bunch of forms in here, and it's giving me a form designer. And then, like I said, all I did was drag and drop a text box and a button on there. And that's really what the bulk of this code is those two things. And then again, I used the social network class that we already used before. And it doesn't have really any code in it. It's just a framework. It's basically just the plans for what I want to do, right? The blueprints for what I want to do. I want to post with a photo, that kind of thing. And so if I actually wanted to write code to post with a photo, again, it's really easy for me to do that. I basically could just copy this code, and I could just use tweet. Again, there's a method called tweet with photo, or tweet with, I think it's called tweet with media. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it's real super simple, and I can put my message in here. So I can say, hey, put the message that I passed in, and then is it possibly sensitive? Nah, it's not sensitive. And then what the image is. So I can just put the photo that I send in here, and that's it. And there you go. Now I can actually post a photo to Twitter too. Really simple stuff.
Wow.
So again, that's what really classes allows you to do, is it allows you to abstract the complexity, take away the complexity from what's underneath the covers to do all of this, and make it really easy for you to build the app without you really having any craziness in your app to complicate things in your head and on the screen.
Right.
I feel like anytime you do this, it's a lot easier to share it with a team. Like classes are perfect for teams.
Yep. Now, and if you write the class, well enough, it will be completely decoupled, broken apart, and you can just take, like you said, package it up, send it to somebody, and say, here, just use this. Yeah.
When you're beginning, the classes are mainly going to be for you to take someone else's code, as Lou is doing here with the Twitter API and the Twitter class, and be able to use the methods that they created to do the things that you want to do. As you get more advanced, you're going to find that your code, especially if you do it right, and as Lou says, if you can decouple your class from the program that's using it, then people will start using your classes. And this is how the world of open source works. People writing good code that other people want to use, giving hooks into it. And you know, I can't stress enough that this is ultimately where you want to end up. There is no greater compliment in the world of programming than someone else saying, I really like that class, can I get a copy of it? Yes. Either that, well, no, there is one better compliment, which is, we love your programming, we'd like to buy it for $1 billion.
Oh.
Hey, maybe the Twitter app, maybe, you know, Twitter.
Now, Luke, can you actually show us the class that you're turning into an object here? It's in your workspace, right?
Yep. So the Twitter guy, this is the Twitter class right here. And so what we're doing, we're newing up a version of this. It's, you know, again, very simple. It's only 3 lines, again, because it gets to inherit from its parent here. But again, it has a post method, a post for an image, and then the login method. Again, very simple code in here to say, hey, go use this link to Twitter library to go and authorize me, and then show the login box. And that's what you saw, that little box that says authorize or whatever.
Right.
It's very, very simple. And then when you go back.
People in the chat room are asking about that. They're asking, so where did that box come from? Well, it's right here. So Lou just showed you the method that's creating that. That's
right. And if we go, like, I actually, again, it's just another, it's another window, but in the window itself, it actually spins up this pin authorizer, which is, again, part of the link to Twitter library, but it's another class that's supported in there.
Yeah. Now, you could hard code all of that in there, and that would be a horrible, horrible app. Don't ever do that, because you're essentially.
And you notice here, I take my secret code and my secret key that I get from my. So if I were to go over to my Twitter apps, if I were to sign in here and then create, so it's, you know, apps.twitter.com. If I were to sign in and create an app, they would give me a secret code and a secret key, and then I put it actually in a config file, so this way it's kind of hidden behind the scenes, and then you guys can put whatever code you want in there. But again, don't put it in your code.
Yeah, I mean, you could. It will work. It actually will work. But the problem is, anyone who gets a hold of your code now has you.
They will also be able
to
get your info.
Yeah, so don't do that. That's bad. Now, Lou, again, I'm hoping that this time people will see these examples. They'll download this program, your program, Snubs program, and they'll say, okay, this is worth it. And they'll start exploring, especially with the Twitter class, especially with this download class. They'll be able to fool around and put enough together that they'll finally decide, okay, this is how I will write my programs. Do you have any advice that you want to give to them as they head on their classy way?
Yeah, definitely. I think, you know, I saw a lot of posts on Google Plus and on Twitter, and to be honest with you, it is kind of confusing because a lot of other languages are like, well, we don't support object orientation when you're creating objects and classes. And some of those languages are pretty easy because they're like you said, they're what they call interpreted languages, or they're very easy to compile at runtime or run it, do the code at runtime. But again, classes make it really easy for you to kind of, for me, it's kind of like organization in my head too. So like if I say, oh, I'll give you something that does that for you. It's like, hey, Padre, I'll give you I'll give you some class that will download stuff, and use every processor on your machine to do it. Like that sounds super complex, and so I'm going to give you a class that's really easy. You call downloads and you pass a file name, and then it's going to be done. Yeah. And to me, that's really makes it easy for everybody to understand that classes, allows you to kind of package up complexity and give it, like you say, give it to other people.
Right. And there's nothing like being able to do that, to say, oh, this is a super huge class, but you can create an object, and these are the 2 methods that you want to use, and this is how you use them. And that's what we're talking about. That's really how simple you can make it.
I love it.
Lou Maresca from Microsoft, we want to thank you again for being our code warrior. It is always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always a pleasure to see your code. And again, thank you for this, because I was struggling with the whole down. I don't know what I was doing. I think the problem is I was trying to make it more complicated than it actually had to be.
It's usually what happens.
You could, you could get way out of hand with code. I mean, I've done that before. Yeah. I get way out of hand sometimes. Yeah. Oh,
and by the way, I should mention, if you're going to use the download code, there's an extra special bonus for the advanced programmers. There is no exception handling, and we haven't made it customizable. Everything's kind of hard-coded in there. So if you're feeling frisky, why not drop it into a WFM? Why not give it error checking? Make sure that you're not going to run into any exceptions. And why not make it completely configurable with some dialog boxes? That's your challenge.
You kind of tricked me a little bit, because you said, hey, I need a class that does downloads asynchronously. Okay, so I just did it really quick. I didn't think you were going to use that one.
That was a lot of fun. It was a lot of
works.
fun. We want to give them bare bones. We don't want to make it too complicated.
Yeah.
Well, Lou Maresca, if you could tell the folks where they can find you, where they can find your work.
Definitely. LouMM on Twitter, and about me, LouMM, and of course all my works at crm.dynamics.com.
Fantastic. And we will see you next week. What do you think we should venture into next, Lou?
I don't know. I think we're getting pretty close to maybe doing some more fancy stuff. Maybe moving to like mobile or tablet platforms. I don't know. Maybe as long as people are okay with the class thing by now.
Yeah. How about this? We'll keep our ears out. Make sure you go into the Google Plus group and tell us, I got classes, or give me one more.
Yes.
I mean, we could give you one more. I'd like to move on to something else, but I don't want to do it until people have classes down pat, unless people are dedicated to writing their code in the right hierarchy. Because, I mean, honestly, if that's all we get out of the second module, I will be very, very happy. How about that, Lou? Does that sound good?
Sounds great. Yeah, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Lou Maresca, senior software developer over at Microsoft, good friend of the Twit TV network. Sir, we salute you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
And folks, we salute you too. That's right. The geek, the gal, the man, the woman who watches our show each and every single week. We wouldn't have a show without them, right?
That's so right. Yes, thank you so much for watching the show. And of course, if you want to find all of our show notes and all the information available about Coding 101, or you just want to subscribe because you found us randomly on YouTube or something, go over to twit.tv/code or twit.tv/C101. Both of those links work, and you can find everything, including the links to our GitHub as well.
Yeah, and our GitHub, and also the links to the individual software packages.
Yes.
We want to make it easy because, again, we're listening to you, and people were saying, I don't want to have to go to 12 different GitHubs to get all the code for the different classes that will run this program. So we're going to package everything up. There's going to be a nice, easy zip for you to download and get the projects that we worked on today. And don't forget that you can also find us on iTunes. That's right. Download Coding 101 on iTunes if you are an iPerson, and especially if you're getting your new iPhone 6, because I've heard that we look damn good in 5.5 inches.
I'm sure.
That's not right. That's bad. Okay,
We're also
talk
on
about something else.
YouTube. We're on the Googles, all over the Googles. We're on their YouTubes, youtube.com/twitcoding101. And you can also find us on the Google Plus community. And I made a little bit.ly link for that. It's bit.ly/twitcoding101. That's where we have most of our community. That's where you can find all sorts of information and lots of really, really helpful answers to any of your questions. People are very, very open to answering pretty much anything over there.
It's not a board.
It's not.
It's a community. Also, if you don't like G+, we're doing the Twitter groove, and actually, we're going to probably write our own custom apps. I want mine to tweet every time Jeff stands up. I'm gonna write something for that.
But you can find an Arduino on his chair.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, heat sensor. Oh.
Know-how.
Okay. Yeah, lots of know-how stuff going on here. But you can also find us doing the Twitter thing. I'm at twitter.com/PadreSJ. That's the little @ symbol, PadreSJ.
And I am at Snubs.
Yeah. Don't forget, we do the show live. Every Thursday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. You're going to find us at live.twit.tv. And as long as you're watching us live, which is great, by the way, because you get to see pre-show and post-show and the bloopers that get...
The weird stuff he does
that I get
all the time.
It's gone in the final cut, but you get to watch it live. You're going to be able to do that. And you can drop in at irc.twit.tv and be part of our chat room. You see us every once in a while looking like down here somewhere. That's where the chat room lives. They get to talk to us during the show. Sometimes we answer their questions, and we always pay attention.
Yes,
bugs.
I can
Absolute
do Morse
bugs.
code.
Yes, you can.
Kind of.
Yeah. So so irc.twit.tv. Until next time, I'm Father Robert Ballecer.
I'm Shannon Morse.
End of line.